The Pennsylvania Game is made possible in part by
the Pennsylvania Public Television Network.
Cliff Stitely owns and operates Standing Stone Deer Farm in Mifflin, Pennsylvania. But Cliff doesn't make his money selling deer meat. What does he market? A, studio time for wildlife photographers. B, deer urine. C, stuffed hunting targets. Or D, deer antlers. The answer is B, deer urine. Cliff Stitely, a former police officer and avid hunter, was looking for something to do when he retired. He bought his first white-tailed deer, a buck and several doe, in 1986, and now has a herd of about 50 animals. Unlike many native animals that are raised domestically, Stitely's deer aren't slaughtered. Instead, he collects and markets their urine for the manufacture of scents used as hunting lures. Collected in gallon-sized containers, the urine is shipped in bulk to plants in Michigan, New York, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. Stitely has also developed his own line of lures, which he sells retail at a local sporting goods store and to wholesale outlets nationwide. During the Revolutionary War, Brigadier General Anthony Wayne recruited, trained, fought, and settled mutiny. Born in Waynesboro, Chester County, he died in Erie in 1796. What was unusual about his death? A, he died of madness. B, his relatives boiled his remains to return his bones to his home. C, he was killed by a child playing with a gun. Or D, he died of a snake bite. The answer is B. In 1809, 13 years after his death, his relatives boiled his remains in a big black cauldron so that the general's bones could be returned to his home near Philadelphia. Nicknamed Mad Anthony Wayne because of his quick temper, he started as a colonel in the Revolutionary War. A member of the Pennsylvania Battalion, he fought in every campaign from Canada to Georgia. On December 5, 1796, he was seized with a severe attack of gout and died at Fort Presque Isle. In 1809, his son retrieved the general's skeleton, reinterring the flesh there and returning the bones to be buried in the family cemetery in Radnor, Pennsylvania. Catherine Drexel was born to wealth and privilege in Philadelphia in 1858. An activist for civil rights, she spent all of her inheritance helping poor blacks and American Indians. Efforts are underway to honor her posthumously for her life of dedication. Would she be honored with A, the President's Medal of Freedom, B, sainthood, C, acceptance by the Sioux Nation to be their eternal spiritual advisor, or D, renaming Philadelphia's Broad Street Catherine Drexel Boulevard? The answer is B, sainthood. In 1889, at age 30, Catherine became a nun. Taking her vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, she also vowed to be the mother and servant of the Indian and Negro races. She spent her entire $20 million inheritance building schools and missions for blacks and American Indians. The Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament, the order Catherine Drexel founded in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, has been crusading for her canonization since 1964. The first of two posthumous miracles, required as evidence of Catherine's favored place in heaven, has been confirmed by the Vatican. Catherine Drexel would become the second Pennsylvanian to achieve sainthood, after Bishop John Newman, who was canonized in 1977. St. John the Baptist Roman Catholic Church in Pittsburgh's Lawrenceville neighborhood was scheduled for demolition when local investors bought it. 3 years later, in August 1996, the doors of St. John the Baptist reopened as what? A, a local dealership's used car showroom, B, a McDonald's, C, a brewery pub, or D, a juvenile detention center. The answer is C, a brewery pub. In 1996, the Church Brew Works, a brew pub that sells beer to be enjoyed on the premises, was established in the former St. John the Baptist Roman Catholic Church in Lawrenceville, which closed due to declining membership. It's believed to be the only brew pub in America in such a setting. The brewery's steel and copper tanks were installed on the former altar of the deconsecrated church. The new owners not only saved the church from the wrecking ball, they retained and refurbished the stained glass and gold decorations. The church's lectern serves as a hostess station, and a confessional houses the church brewworks merchandise. The restored church and handcrafted brews are attracting a lot of visitors. Already there's a growing legion of faithful churchgoers. Until March of 1882, Andrew Carnegie had been doing something that was later deemed by Congress to be the country's responsibility. Did he A, provide pensions to widows of presidents, B, investigate corrupt railroad barons, C, fund what became the U.S. Weather Bureau, or D, help to relocate Native Americans? The answer is A, he provided pensions for presidents' widows. In 1882, Congress decided it was the country's responsibility to provide pensions to presidents' widows, which until then had been personally provided by Andrew Carnegie. In 1889, Carnegie wrote a book titled Gospel of Wealth that extolled the moral obligation of the wealthy to serve as stewards for society. Carnegie practiced what he preached. At the time of his death in 1919, at age 84, Andrew Carnegie had given away 90% of his fortune. This athlete holds a unique position in Penn State history. In 1973, he was recognized for his athletic ability, but today is best remembered for a speech he gave. Who is he? A, Mike Reed, B, Jack Ham, C, Franco Harris, or D, John Cappelletti? The answer is D, John Cappelletti. Penn State's only Heisman Trophy winner, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1993. The year of his Heisman Award, Cappelletti's rushing yardage was the second best in Penn State history. But it was his touching tribute to his dying brother for which he is best remembered. In an emotional acceptance speech on December 13, 1973, Cappelletti, who had intended to thank his coaches, parents, and teammates, dedicated his Heisman to his 11-year-old brother, Joseph, who was suffering from leukemia. Joseph died 3 years later. "I don't think I'll ever forget this night," John said when he ended his speech. No one else has either. In 1734, 200 German Christian radical reformists arrived in Philadelphia. By 1782, they formed a society in the Philadelphia area and today comprise 2,800 members with 5 churches found only in Montgomery and Philadelphia counties. This religious group is known as A, the Calvinists, B, the Schwenkfelders, C, the Monkeys, or D, the Moravians. The answer is B, the Schwenkfelders. Caspar Schwenkfeld von Ossel, the church's namesake, lived in Germany from 1489 to 1561. Inspired by Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation, he taught that people should live their lives for Christ and maintain their individuality. After his death, his followers upheld his teachings, but never founded a church in Germany. The Philadelphia area is the only place in the United States where the Schwenkfelders immigrated. The last Schwenkfelder in Germany died in 1829. There are only 5 Schwenkfelder churches in existence today, all in a small area of Pennsylvania.
A copy of the program you've just seen can be purchased through Penn State Media Sales at mediasales.psu.edu or by calling 800-770-2111.